So for this episode, I wanted to talk about debt, which is something that you start thinking about after you get your first job. I know for me, I just ignored the hell out of my $27,000 student loan debt until I had a source of income after college. And if it made me realize anything, it's that people are scared to confront their debt. But it'll follow you if you don't pay. Scary things happen. People come after you. It's not like you can wait until you die and it just disappears. I feel like debt is so normalized in our society that everyone has it and it's just like no big deal. No one talks about it though. I have expressed this before and I'll say it again, but I feel resentment for our society for making 17-year-olds, literal children, decide on college majors, pretty much asking them what they want to do for the rest of their lives as if they already should know, and making them take on loads of student loans to go to these accredited universities, all the while never having educated these children on personal finance in their years of public schooling. And if you choose not to go to school after high school, you're perceived as a failure. Our society is doing its best to churn out worker bees. And if you are a former Asian nerd like myself, you'll understand this pain particularly deeply because it started way sooner for us. I was thinking about college at 13. My parents made me. This is a system that few can escape from. Many of us are pressured to be in this path, to fit in this mold, especially if you come from an immigrant family. A huge part of the American dream is higher education. The average net worth of a college graduate is around negative $30,000. Can you believe it? You're 21, you finish college, you are propelled into the adult world for the first time, and you are $30,000 in the fucking hole. It is a scam. College is a scam. But it's not so black and white, right? If you ask me if I regret going to college, I would say no. The fact that going to college allowed me to get away from my toxic environment at home and that it offered me so much freedom all at once that I never had, that was priceless. Going to college saved me. So if I think about it like that, I took out $27,000 in loans to fix my mental health, to meet some of the most important people in my life today, to learn who I am for the first time, to learn how to take care of myself. If I think about it like that, it's worthwhile, 100 times over. But as for the school part of school, that was not a good idea. Engineering was not the vibe, and I didn't want to switch majors because that would make me take even longer to graduate and put me deeper in debt. Now I'm 25 this year with zero interest in the industry and a bachelor's degree. It's just like, damn. I just wish that I had received the education to become aware of the true weight and true magnitude of the financial decision that I was making at 17. Sometimes people go to school not because it's what they actually want to do, it's just what their parents want them to do or what society makes them think that they need to do. I know people who dropped out of college years ago but still have tens of thousands in loans for an unfinished degree, a degree that might not ever be finished. It's not right. So the whole point of this huge rant, basically, is that if you have debt, just know that it's not your fault, in case you ever felt that it was. The government has failed us. Public education has failed us. There was no way we were going to know. So on the topic of paying off your debt, I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to talk about this considering I have completely paid off my own debt. I did this because I was really influenced by my best friend who did the same thing right after college. Side note to always pay attention to the people around you and how they handle things, and you decide what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do for yourself. The people around you have a huge effect on you. And not saying if someone is irresponsible with their money, you just shouldn't be their friend, but just use discretion. Originally, I was just going to ignore my student debt or make the minimum payment every month. Just because when I did get my first job after college, it was after an 8-month period in the pandemic of applying to jobs to no avail, living in my childhood home in that same toxic environment, no car, no money, no hope. So when I did get my job 8 months after graduation, I was like, holy shit, I need a car, I need to move out. But I knew that if I bought a new car or got a new apartment, I was just gonna get caught up in all the new bills I had to pay. Plus, the pandemic was the perfect time. The world kind of stopped a little bit, and there was no better time to really buckle down and save a whole bunch of money to throw at my debt. I knew that if I didn't prioritize paying off my loans now, I would always be thinking about them hanging over me. It was like having a parasite, and if I didn't do anything about it, it was just going to get bigger once the forbearance period was over. And I hated having a parasite. For the first 6 months of my job, everything that didn't go into bills went into my loans, and it was one of the hardest things that I've had to do, to put future me first. It's hard putting future you ahead of present you. It's not everyone's style, I know. And I know not everyone is in the position of being able to move back in with their parents after college. Even though it sucked for me emotionally and mentally, it was great financially. But for me, this is what I thought was best, facing it head on and paying it off completely. Part of it was also resentment towards the government, like, fuck you, you didn't teach me dog shit about personal finance and now you want to take advantage of that fact and you want to charge me interest? No way, I don't think so. If I had to do it over, I wouldn't do it any other way. Because being debt-free, it feels unbelievably good. So of course, everyone is in a personal, unique situation with their money and their debt. So I didn't create this episode with the intention of creating a debt payment plan for you, or even to tell you to pay it off aggressively, but rather this is a call to action to first look at your debt. Do not be afraid of it. Do not ignore it. That is not a good idea. Secondly, evaluate your current income and expenditures. After all your necessities, I'm talking bills, rent, groceries, how much is left each month? And out of what's remaining, how much of that are you spending on things that genuinely bring you joy and fulfillment in your life? And how much of that are you spending on random stupid shit? If you are living paycheck to paycheck and there is absolutely no leftover for you and you can't find anywhere to cut your expenses, it's time to figure out how to make more money, either with a new job or a side hustle. Assuming you do have leftover budget each month that can go toward your debt, do some research on debt payment plans, debt payment strategies. I talked about the snowball method with Angie in episode 5, for example. Pick a plan that sounds good to you, and the last step is to just implement it. But one very important tip, regardless of which option you pick, calculate how much interest you're going to have to pay for your chosen time frame. There are student loan interest calculators that you can just look up on the internet, and you can pretty much just plug and chug like, okay, these are my balances, these are my interest rates. If I make this payment every month, how long is it going to take, and what is the total interest I'm going to end up paying? And these calculators will tell you. Knowledge is power, you guys. Find out as much as you can, and from there, you'll be able to make the best decision for yourself with all the information.